the Honourable Minister Sean Richards, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture, David Brooks, CPL Director, Neil Patel, General Manager, St Kitts-Nevis Patriots team, and welcome members of the press to this stunning location, the U Lounge, and a special welcome to all listeners from Ziz Radio across the region. This is indeed a groundbreaking day for CPL, and we believe the people of St Kitts and Nevis. We're extremely appreciative of the St Kitts and Nevis government for making this day happen and for supporting CPL's newest team, the St Kitts and Nevis Patriots. I want to make specific mention of the unstinting work that Minister Richards has afforded this project since he came into office just a few months ago. We now have an agreement that secures the long-term future of the team in St Kitts and Nevis, which is fantastic news for everyone. In terms of this year's tournament, CPL begins on June the 20th in Barbados, with the St Kitts and Nevis Patriots' first match at Warner Park being against the Jamaica Talawas on Tuesday the 30th of June. We know how proud the people of St Kitts and Nevis are, and we look forward to welcoming your passionate support over 10 days of high-quality cricket throughout the month of July.
It is my duty to share in the developments of the Ministry of Sports in CPL 2015 in particular. As was previously shared, the government of St Kitts Nevis has committed to the hosting of 10 games of CPL 2015. This following the outcome of the March 11, 2014 agreement to host the 2014 CPL tournament finals at the Warner Park Stadium. The CPL 2014 tournament hosted in St Kitts Nevis has been assessed as delivering economic impact of US $26.3 million. 16% of total Caribbean impact of the CPL games. Sheer amounts of leisure travel spent over US $2.1 million and direct impact of US $10.9 million have contributed to the total impact of CPL to the economy of the Federation. CPL 2014 featured St Kitts Nevis in the tournament finals that was streamed to 220 million homes across Australia, Bangladesh, UK, and the USA, among others. Our Warner Park Stadium having been established as a premier site for regional and international day and night cricket matches, positioned St Kitts Nevis for consideration by CPL franchise team hosting. In signing of the CPL franchise team hosting agreement, the previous administration committed the government to a total cost of $7.25 million US to be paid in 5 annual installments for the period 2015 to 2019. I must unfortunately say that the said contract amount was not appropriated for in the 2015 budget estimates. My government has undertaken to assess the possible games of the CPL 2015 and have concluded the following points. Investment in the form of inward investment from sponsors, international fans, and CPL. The CPL franchise team remaining resident on island during the practice and match season of the CPL tournament matches ensures that accommodations, transportation, and insurance costs of team personnel remain on island. Marketing. As team naming ensures worldwide positioning of the Federation of St Kitts Nevis name and attracts sponsorship opportunities to offset subsidy costs. CPL brand lends to recognition of our federation as a premier destination for high-class sport and leisure activities. Development through planned local cricket development programs around the franchise team to build local passion, talent, and capacity for the game of cricket. Country promotion opportunity as a CPL brand planned for expansion into North America will be strategically leveraged to further country promotion through our local franchise team's exposure. My government has therefore committed to structuring the CPL 2015 to ensure that the mistakes of the past are no longer furthered through inaction and political expediency. Our operating expenses of total contract cost of $7.25 million to be paid in 5 installments for the period 2015 to 2019 will finally be committed. The initial 2015 spend amount of US $2.5 million, payable in installments of US $1.5 million, US $500,000, and US $500,000 are expected to be finalized through consultation with the Ministry of Finance. The CPL 2015 schedule will be comprised of 6 neutral games and 4 home games in St. Kitts and Nevis, along with the Prime Minister's charity match. Neutral games will be held from June 29th to July 4th, 2015. Home games from July 6th to July 11th, 2015. I am pleased to share that a team owner has been identified in the person of Mr. Uday Nayok, CEO of the St. Kitts Private Jet Terminal, where we currently are. Mr. Nayak shall be responsible for operating costs of team beyond subsidy period of 5 years, and additionally for ticketing revenue of home and neutral games. CPL will support team owner via central revenues with US $7.6 million for the period 2015 to 2019. Thank you.
I would just simply like to reiterate my colleague Pete Russell's words and add my thanks and indeed congratulations to the vision of Minister Richards, who has ensured in the creation of the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. This team will be a tremendous brand ambassador for the country, and by using it in the platform of the CPL, St. Kitts and Nevis will be able to further globalise its name, its brand, which can only be a benefit to the country and, of course, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. This is, of course, a partnership between government and private business with Uday Nayak, and may I now quickly introduce you to Neil Patel, to my left, who is the General Manager of the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As per the established protocol, on behalf of my chairman, Mr. Uday Nayak, and the co-owners, Mr. Mohammed Ansari and Naveen Veeraswamy, and our entire team, I'm pleased to say that we are delighted to partner with the St. Kitts and Nevis government in bringing the CPL franchise to the island. With an exciting roster of players, coaches and support staff of all cricketing fans in St. Kitts and Nevis, we hope to pursue a shared dream of a cricket team representing the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, enhancing the visibility of the country internationally. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Kyloni Johnson, ZIZ Radio and Television. First question is for you, Minister Richards. At any point, did it seem unlikely that St. Kitts wouldn't be able to host these matches? And my second question is for you, Mr. Patel. St. Kitts Nevis, the Patriots have a very strong lineup. What are your guys' hopes for the 2015 season?
Of course, at some point in time, there would have been doubts as to whether or not St. Kitts Nevis would be able to host the 2015 CPL games. As indicated, not just here today, but on previous occasions, the former administration signed a contract from 2015 up until 2019 to host the CPL games. However, no monies were budgeted to host those games here in St. Kitts and Nevis. For this year, we have to pay $2.5 million to host those games. All of the entire amount should have been paid already in 3 installments, with the last payment becoming due and payable on the 16th of April, which was sometime last week. To date, we haven't paid any of that sum. As such, Cabinet would have had to sit down and take a look as to the availability of funds for the government to be able to meet such a commitment. We have, however, assessed the economic benefits of having CPL being hosted here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have looked at the fact that indeed St. Kitts and Nevis has a franchise for the very first time in the St. Kitts-Nevis Patriots. And so we looked at the overall cost versus the benefits to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, plus the fact that a contract would have been signed already, and took a decision to go forward in hosting the games.
Our intentions are not a short-term come and go. The whole idea of the franchise, which my chairman envisaged seeing that we should be here for a longer period to establish a team brand which represents the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and put back into the economy by promoting sport at all levels, from grassroots to international, and produce the first St. Kittian player to play for the West Indies. Thank you.
Good day, Lush and Dixon SKM Vibes. My question is for Mr. Patel. Is there a name or short list of names of possible captains for the St. Kitts and Nevis team? And also a question for the CPL representatives. How has ticket sales been thus far?
As for the captains, we have Marlon Samuels, who will be representing us, along with Martin Guptill from New Zealand as our vice captain. And we have a host of international players, which include Shahid Afridi from Pakistan, Sohail Tanwar from Pakistan again. We have 2 local players who will be representing us from Nevis and St. Kitts. And we have a squad which is fairly formidable. With 4 internationals there, we should be able to, as a team, perform to a reasonably good level in reaching at least the quarterfinals.
To your question about the success of CPL, is the Minister alluded to, it went to 220 million homes last year. If you look at the international cricketing community, they put the CPL on a par with, or it's spoken in the same breath as IPL and the Big Bash. So as an international sports league, it resonates very strongly. And why it resonates very strongly is the passionate support that the tournament has received across the Caribbean. So having full houses, especially here at Warner Park, creates a unique atmosphere. And again, as Mr. Patel just outlined, the quality of international players that are coming to this tournament is fantastic. If you take the likes of Kevin Peterson, Jack Callis, Jai Wardner, Malinga, obviously Afridi. So we're now a world-class international tournament for which the Caribbean should be rightly proud.
myview.com. Question to Minister Richards. Where exactly are the funds coming from, and what impact or implications would be had, if any, for the missed deadlines? Mr. Patel, why bring a franchise to St. Kitts and Nevis as against a much larger territory? Like it was moved from Antigua, come to St. Kitts, and to the CPL representatives. Why no neutral venue was chosen this year to host matches as against 2014? And one more question. CPL representatives, what are your thoughts on a possible cancellation of the 2015 and beyond, or the cancellation of the Champions League?
To answer your first question, the funds will come from recurrent revenue. Secondly, I must say thanks to the organizers, to the directors of CPL. They have been most understanding. They have recognized the fact that on the 16th of February, we had a change of government. They have recognized the fact that no monies were budgeted by the former administration in respect of St. Kitts-Nevis hosting CPL games here. As such, they have been most accommodating, and no, we will not incur any interest charges for the late payments.
Why bring CPL franchise to St. Kitts as against much larger territory, for example, Grenada and Antigua?
We were offered St. Kitts as a base which would attract a vast audience comparatively to Antigua, where it was held last year. And as we, as a company, are already established in St. Kitts, we have the economics and the manpower to take cricket forward rather than sit back 6 weeks and go back home. That doesn't apply to us. We are already established in St. Kitts with this the UV Lounge.
One of the things that is important for CPL is to have stability, so that the team is sustainable over a long period of time. It's one of the things that we spoke a lot to Minister Richards about in terms of how do we create that sustainability where people know that the team is going to be here, it's going to be invested in. People can, from the outside, invest inwardly, which is very important. And to be blunt, last year everyone had a very good time in St. Kitts and Nevis. So players enjoyed it, fans enjoyed it. It creates a good atmosphere. So we felt that everything was aligned in terms of bringing the franchise here. Obviously, in terms of Uday Nayak's involvement on the island, that was important in terms of his investment as well. So we only see good things in terms of going forward, both in terms of the investment in the team and also the investment in the local community, because the one thing that Uday is very keen to endorse is the local community. Make sure that local cricket leagues are promoted and sponsored. There's an academy that is set up here that becomes a focal point for young kids, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but around the region. So I think there's a lot of good things that will happen. Just coming back to our own questions, in terms of, I think you asked the question about the Champions League. And the neutral match. The neutral matches are, it's interesting because we had an opportunity to play neutral games overseas this year. So it's a little bit like IPR had the opportunity to play games in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. We had similar offers to play these neutral games. Our feeling was very much that St. Kitts and Nevis, it was important to get the new franchise off to a good start. So there's 7 home games for the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, if you look at it in that context. So we think we've given the team a pretty good chance in terms of getting off to a fast start. In the future, I think you'll find those neutral games will obviously move around the region. And again, it's very important, I think, that those games are played in countries that don't necessarily host a CPL franchise.
Is there any specifics as to why we were not playing in Grenada, Antigua?
I think there were logistic reasons, as well as the fact that we felt that actually it was right that they should be hosted here again. We hosted games, as you know, in Grenada last year. But we felt that it was right to host those games in St. Kitts and Nevis this time around again. but next year you'll see us probably expand, and certainly in terms of the territories that we play CPL games. We felt it right for this year. And then in terms of Champions League is a question everyone asks us, is what's happening with Champions League. I'm not even sure that even the BCCI yet have made a decision on it, but obviously it's a very expensive tournament for the BCCI to run. That doesn't affect us really. I mean, it's in as much as the winning team from CPL will go to the Champions League. There will be the son of the Champions League, whatever that happens to be. So if you look at the leagues now and where they've come from since Champions League has been set up, the Big Bash has grown in strength. The Ram Slam in South Africa has grown in strength. There's a new league obviously in the UK that's grown in strength. We've grown in strength in terms of CPL. So there will always be the opportunity to play a Champions League equivalent. And I think that will duly happen.
What were the financial implications if the government had defaulted on the contract or decided not to go ahead with the CPL? And do these implications far outweigh the benefits, or do the benefits far outweigh the implications? To the CPL, give us some more details on the charity match that will be held. And also, if you could give us some information on, I understand there's supposed to be a training camp here as well.
From my reading of the contract, I don't recall a specific penalty being noted in the contract if St. Kitts and Nevis had defaulted on hosting the CPL games here. In regards to the cost versus the benefits, I think that we would all recognize that it is not very easy for one to measure the benefits of hosting the CPL games here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Perhaps from an expenditure standpoint, that can be easier measured in that one can quantify the expenditure. However, when you begin to look at the benefits, you can't just look at it in terms of dollars received, be it revenues from the gates or what some of the local vendors would have paid for their goods as opposed to their revenue intake during the games. You would have to look at the hotels in St. Kitts and Nevis and how they would have been impacted in terms of occupancy. That, of course, would also trickle down to the employees at those particular institutions and the taxes which government would be able to derive as a result of such. Additionally, this year we are looking to involve the local cricket association. I have spoken to Mr. Russell, and so we want to get them involved in the local operations in particular, so that they would have an opportunity to make money to share in the revenues to be derived from CPL. We also can look at it from the point of view that cricket to a large extent in St. Kitts and Nevis has not been doing as well as it ought to be. And I'm referring to the playing of cricket on the local scene. We are hoping that by having CPL games being hosted here in St. Kitts and Nevis, you would have a renewed interest, and coming out of that renewed interest, you would have more Kittitians and Nevisians making their debut on, be it the regional or international scene. We also have the fact that CPL is streamed to millions of homes throughout the world. And as a result of that, you may very well have persons visiting St. Kitts and Nevis for the first time, so that you have spin-off effects coming out of that. So when you begin to look at the entire package, indeed, the benefits are not easy to quantify. You have a local organizing committee. The persons who would be involved there, they would be able to get training in hosting events, international events, right here in St. Kitts-Nevis, and that is an experience, that is a skill that they will be able to transfer to other events being hosted right here in St. Kitts-Nevis, be it Carifta, be it music festival, be it carnival, or whatever other activity it is. So there are numerous benefits which I said we can measure quite easily.
The date of the charity match is the 2nd of July. I don't know if that's been officially put on the schedule yet, so we know that that is confirmed to the 2nd of July. And we are in process, aren't we?
The charity match is obviously very important to us. And we've spoken to the Minister about what charities we should be supporting on Ireland, because again that's an important legacy for CPL. One of the things that we're keen to do, and we've had long discussions, is last year obviously we brought Piers Morgan and Brian Lara down, and I think you'll see a more eclectic group of celebrities. We want to introduce women's cricketers as well, so we very much see CPL as touching all corners of the cricketing universe in the Caribbean. So we want to invite some of the West Indies, top West Indies ladies to come and play. We think that's a very interesting initiative. So I think that the charity game does assume a lot of importance to us, and I think, you know, again, we're going to make sure that we raise as much money for good causes as we possibly can during that game.
I think most people would agree that the 2014 edition ended on an anticlimactic note, which was affected by rain. Was this discussed by you guys at any of your meetings to address it, to make sure it basically doesn't happen again? And one quick question for the Minister. The charity match, do you have any intention to suit up?
We've actually already asked the Minister to play. Coming back to your question, Duckworth Lewis obviously is, I'm still trying to figure it out, how that works, but it was a very disappointing end to what had been a fantastic 10 days on the island. And the challenge we had was we were obviously governed by rules which had been set in place before the tournament. So it's very difficult to change those on the spot, even though as the management of CPL we obviously would want to play that game to a finish. We have made changes, so we've now extended the time that the umpires have in the semi-finals and finals by 4 hours. So effectively the game can go on after midnight to get a result. And if there isn't a result in the final on the given day, then we'll move to the reserve day. But we can't have that situation again, because I don't think the end of such a fantastic tournament, the way the game was poised, it was obviously very disappointing for everyone.
Mr. Johnson, what I will say to you is that today is the 21st of April. The first game is on the 30th of June. I have over 2 months to do some serious practice, and maybe I can now make the call that I'm going to need a coach to ensure that I can indeed be part of that charity match.
There you go.
Specifically, besides the changes to the addition in terms of hours, what other changes in playing conditions were put in place for the 2015 edition?
There aren't any specific changes outside of obviously the rain issue that we had. In terms of the teams, we've expanded the teams to 16 players in terms of the squads. And the reason for that is, you may recall last year we have a group of under-19 players that come into the training camp. And what we've allowed this year is for the coach to select one of those 5 under-19 players to go onto the main team and play during the tournament. So again, for us, it's all about bringing the next generation through and giving incentives for young under-19 players to actually be part of CPL.
Public out there who normally be following the cricket and what happened in the 2014 finals, can you just walk us through the process of how the outcome was decided? So,
effectively, during a game, you have a certain amount of time allotted, which is extra time, should there be rain delays. Now, at a given point, after that time has been allotted, the game is considered over if the team bowling second has bowled more than 5 overs. And then the match is referred to Duckworth Lewis. So there is a very complicated method as to how Duckworth-Lewis is calculated, but effectively what it does, it gives you a score that you would have otherwise scored if the rain wasn't there. So what happened in that final, because of there had been bad weather through the first innings, we lost all the time that was available in terms of bad weather. So by the time the umpires declared the ground fit for play, we were out of time. And at that stage, the Guyanese score was behind the Bayesian score in terms of this Duckworth-Lewis. So it was a very sad end, as we say, but we've put things in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
There was a slight break between when I think the covers was removed and when the game was called. So persons would be arguing what happened between that time. And secondly, can you speak on how you're handling the topic of racism in the CPL? Because, quote unquote, it happened here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
I mean, obviously for us, we take that incredibly seriously. And we have a tournament committee that obviously runs the rule over all our rules, and anything that is a misdemeanor, no matter what type of misdemeanor, is reported to them. To be honest, I didn't hear of any specific reports in terms of racism, but obviously that is high on our list of priorities in terms of making sure that never occurs, whether that's spectators or players. So on that basis, you can be rest assured that we have very strong safeguards and obviously penalties in terms of people who abuse that. I think coming back to your earlier point about the covers coming off, it's the umpires, they have the ultimate decision in terms of when the field of play is fit for play. And it was decreed by them that it wasn't fit for play until such time as they finally got round to saying, yes, we can now play cricket. And at that time, we were out of time.
One question from the CPL reps. Who are your favorite teams?
That's a really unfair question. But actually, all of them have been great. I think the competition across all the teams. Last year, I think we suffered because St. Lucia wasn't very strong and Antigua also wasn't very strong. I think this year, if you look at the teams and you match them up player for player, I think they're going to be very competitive. So I see this as being an incredibly competitive season. But of course, the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots are right at the top of our list. They're one of our 6 favourite teams.
Two questions for CPL representatives. Regarding the expansion, which you referred to earlier, does the CPL see any of the other Caribbean territories that do not have a franchise as eligible of becoming a franchise or having a franchise? Or will the focus of expansion be mostly to looking at North America, where there's a bigger market, a bigger population? And finally, the issue of going back to the finals last year, I think one of the concerns from the fans or disappointment from the fans is that there was no public announcement. The fans only knew that Barbados won because they saw the players running onto the field and celebrating, and people are asking what happened. Will there be measures put in place to ensure that a proper announcement is done in an instance like that?
If I can answer your second question first, we specifically told Pollard to leave the dressing room and not in any way celebrate. Now, because obviously we wanted to make a public statement and make sure we got that public announcement right. I guess the euphoria of the moment took over, but that certainly wasn't how we intended to announce it to the public. Just coming back to that again, that whole experience was very unfortunate. You know, just the way that, as you say, the crowd were left on hanging as to, well, what's happened here. It wasn't explained in a way which I think we felt we probably could have done and will do in the future should that ever arise. But yes, it was a disappointing end, I think, for everyone.
Yeah, on the expansion, of course, it's an ambitious league. It's seen globally, as everyone has said here, the Minister has said here, as a very credible, and it's up there with the major 2020 leagues around the world in terms of its brand now. And we're ambitious too. And the Minister again alluded to the fact that there's potential to play matches in North America. And if that were the case, that's great for all of the franchises, because again, it comes back to the globalizing of the countries that are being represented there. The TV reach continues to grow. We doubled figures last year, and we'll double them again this year. So we are open to grow the league, and we take counsel from our partners in the WICB on the expansion of the league. And of course, from the people that are our key business partners, including Minister here and Uday.
No, I think it's important that the league evolves. I think if it's again, the league, it's very important to attract the best players in the world. Now, all the best players in the world want to come to the Caribbean to play cricket because they love playing cricket here. And I think what you'll find after this year, again, we'll get even more top-class players. But I think CPL is becoming known as a destination to go and watch great cricket. And I think that's important for us as well. And therefore, you know, the more we can play outside of the region, I think it just endorses what we're doing in the region.
Minister, the CPL is dubbed the biggest party that comes to the region with sports. I know the St. Kitts Music Festival is around the corner. It's a couple of days before the CPL. Secondly, how important is that to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis going forward? And to Pete, ticket sales. St. Kitts and Nevis is hosting 10 games. In 2014, we hosted 11 games, including the charity games. I just want us to go through with the media the ticket prices so people understand, because everybody's asking what are going to be the ticket prices. And we were the lowest last year for the CPL. And finally, a clarion call. The folks in Nevis want to know if there's going to be a ticket outlet for them, because last year it was a major challenge having to have people from Nevis to come down, couldn't get tickets, never got a chance to see a CPL game, and then went back up.
The fact that we are hosting the St. Kitts Music Festival just a few days prior to the CPL games is indeed a very fortunate situation for us. It gives us the unique opportunity of being able to advertise both functions at the same time. Hence, while we are advertising the music festival, we will also be advertising cricket. We are also thinking that during the cricket games, we can begin to advertise other activities which will be held in St. Kitts and Nevis later in the year. For example, we have a Culturama shortly after, and we have Carnival coming up in December. I can say to you that the Minister of Tourism and the Ministry of Tourism, they will be very much involved in helping to advertise CPL because they see the benefits of sports tourism. Sports tourism is one of the ways in which this government intends to help to grow the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis. So CPL fits perfectly into that. You asked a question about Nevis and ticket sales. Just this morning, I had the Minister with responsibility for youth and sports in my office, the Honorable Hazel Brandy, and she and I spoke about a closer collaboration between the two islands for sports and for matters pertaining to the youth. We spoke about CPL. She asked directly how can Nevis become more involved in the CPL games here in St. Kitts. That is something that we will work on. I indicated to her that two of the persons who have been named to the local organizing committee are persons who reside in Nevis, in the persons of Marvin Hanley and Noah Mills. Noah Mills in particular will be responsible for training our volunteers. So I think that in itself provides Nevis with an opportunity to become even more involved in CPL. What Pete also did not say to you is that leading up to the CPL games. There is a plan to go into the different schools in St. Kitts and Nevis. We want to organize a competition to give students not only the opportunity to learn more about cricket and to meet some of the stars of the game, but at the end of the competition to offer a student and his or her family the opportunity to travel to Trinidad to be part of the final games. So even if I should go back to the earlier question about the benefits of having CPL hosted here, there again you recognize that there is a direct benefit to our students. Pete mentioned to you that he has asked the government to name local charities who we can partner with, so that at the end of the day, those charities can be better off financially because they would have benefited from the CPL games being held in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Just coming to your point about ticketing in Nevis, as you say, that's very important, and we're looking at ways that we can, in fact, do that. Something will be announced over the coming weeks in terms of how we get tickets into Nevis. I know from a merchandising perspective, Mr. Patel and the Patriots team will be very active in Nevis. So that's something that we're going to address. And again, as the Minister rightly said, it's part of the ongoing discussions that we're going to be having with the government to ensure that we get that piece right. In terms of ticket pricing, the man will be $10 US this year. That's going to be the ticket price. And then the stands will be 12 US, that's what we're looking at. And then obviously the party stand, we're talking to party stand operators in terms of how that may work. But we still think it represents incredibly good value for the international cricket that's going to be displayed. Yeah. So just to come back to that question in terms of the training camp. The training camp happens obviously a week before the main tournament. Mr. Patel can give you an outline as to how they're looking to run that. But the reality of that training camp, it's important because that gets everyone motivated in terms of the build-up. And one of the things that we were talking to the Minister about in terms of getting into schools early, that's the week that we look to do that, to build that excitement. And for us, it's almost a 3-week, almost 4 weeks actually, if you think. You've got the training camp, you've got the music festival, then you've got the CPL game. So we think it's going to be a very exciting time for the islands of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we'll definitely be doing our bit in terms of making sure that we're out and about introducing the players to the local communities.
On behalf of the St. Kitts Cricket Association, I just want to express our sincere gratitude and congratulations for CPL being here again. And I just want to let you know that we are eager to work with you and look forward to partnering. Thank you.
And as we've spoken about yesterday with the Minister, it's very important that we work very closely with you. So for us, in terms of working with cricket associations around the region, everyone has to be contributing and everyone has to earn out of CPL. So we'll have a conversation further about how that works, but we're very excited about working with you.